looking back at last week, it was recruiting kind of dominated the day, and things had been slow, and we knew they had been slow, but there was a bit of social media confidence between the current commitments, some of the staff, the wave is coming, BK takeover, this whole deal, and it seems to be moving in the right direction. You've got Jaylen Brown, big 5-star wide receiver who committed, Jeremiah Hughes, Whit Weeks jump into both, and you've got the whole Twitter deal with hashtag Shelton Stays that everybody seems to be tweeting, talking about, of course, 5-star product over there from Catholic High. Caleb Jackson from Liberty, the running back, announces tomorrow what his commitment is. So I want to dive into that first before we get to Christian Little, who is one of the newest members of the LSU baseball program, the Vanderbilt transfer. He'll join us in 12 minutes from right now. We'll talk some NFL quarterbacks, Jeremy's lead toss in the second hour. And we'll get to some MLB mock draft stuff as the draft is inside a week now. And we're going to start talking to some of LSU's signees as their special day approaches, whether or not they decide to start on their professional career or decide to come to Baton Rouge. But let's start with recruiting. I think the biggest name was Jaylen Brown, the 5-star receiver from down there in Miami. Of course, Mario Cristobal is making a heck of a push down there, as is John Ruiz, who's slinging all the cash in South Beach. But LSU, Brian Kelly, his staff, Cortez Hankton, able to go down to South Beach and get what looks to be a game changer. When I watch his tape, he's not the biggest guy. He's only 6 feet, 175 pounds, but he is sudden at the line of scrimmage and has speed for days. So your thought on that pickup for LSU?
Yeah, I thought that was a huge pickup for LSU, and I think it goes right in line with what we were thinking with this recruiting staff, and they got to cover some ground, and that's exactly what they did last week. And I thought no better way to start on that route and getting a 5-star receiver from the state of Florida who can just take the top off of defense. I think, to me, watching this film, he reminds me a lot of Deshaun Jackson, a smaller, more frail guy, but speed to burn, and that's exactly what you need in the SEC. You look at LSU when they're at their peak of powers. You got guys just making big-time plays, guys like Jamar Chase. You look at Alabama last year, Jameson Williams. Like, you need guys who can take the top off the defense, and I think pairing him with Walker for their careers, I can't wait to see those guys hook up, and I thought that was a huge gift for the Tigers.
Yeah, you start with they've been heavy on defensive linemen, edge rushers, added a few pieces here and there, but Brown, the first real 5-star to jump in the boat, and when I watch him, I kind of see, based on their start at the line of scrimmage, kind of like Jamar Chase, he's just so sudden off the ball, and they're high school guys, and he's overmatching them, which we know, but they can't get a hand on him, and he just runs by him, and that's it's a lot of over-the-top stuff on the film, but he does catch the ball with his hands pretty well. Obviously, a lot of schools involved with him, and for LSU to go ahead and grab him was very, very good. The next name is Jeremiah Hughes from Bishop Gorman, which is kind of becoming like a little bit of a feeder to LSU. Like, you had Monty Wilkinson show up. You've obviously got Justin Crawford in this LSU baseball class. Bishop Gorman, and Crawford's not going to end up here, but the fact is that they got a commitment from him. And Jeremiah Hughes, cornerback, 6 feet, 170 pounds. LSU goes out west and grabs him. And, the names that you were competing against, Utah, Arkansas, Washington, not necessarily blue bloods, but does once again show Brian Kelly's ability to go out nationally. And again, we talk about these recruits in these definite terms every time. I try to throw the caveat: half your signing class never helps anyway. But they've shown ability in a year where you're not going to win a ton inside your state for whatever reason. You do need to go supplement your class with some guys from outside the state, and this is a rangy defensive back that they've done that with.
Yeah, and I thought, for me, still looking at the defensive back room, I think that room still needs a ton of depth, because even after this season, a lot of those guys are going to leave that room. Even the guys that came in the transfer portal. So I think they got to continue to build the depth in that room. And I thought getting a cornerback who a lot of people feel is a top 5 cornerback in this class coming out. I thought that was huge for Coach Kelly and the rest of the staff, because I think that's going to be a huge position of need. And I think being LSU, you know that's your calling card, DBU. So as many top caliber defensive backs you can get in this program, I think it bodes well for everyone.
Whit Weeks, linebacker, undersized right now, but does have the frame to add weight. He's 6'2", 205 pounds, from Watkins, Georgia. He is a 3-star, not as highly rated by the recruiting services, but Kirby wanted him. And that's a guy from Georgia that Georgia was interested in and did offer, and LSU goes in there and finds one. So, look, I think Whit Weeks is a couple years away from playing, but I'm leery of when a home state school doesn't have interest and doesn't look. None of this is absolute, but I trust Georgia's evaluation. They've recruited some pretty good classes. They've had some pretty good teams. Yeah. They've produced a lot of NFL guys. They know what they're doing over there, and that's a guy in their backyard. If they were not interested, I would be a little concerned with that. They were. LSU does go in there and get Whit Weeks.
Yeah, I thought that was another good pickup for the team. I'm not going to say outstanding or amazing, but watching his film, he seems like a guy who's going to come in right away his freshman year and be a guy who can play on all 4 special teams. And I think that's a value that can't go overstated. And I think, as he grows and gets older, gets in the strength and conditioning program, he can be, off the ball linebacker. Watching his film, he uses his hands extremely well, taking on blockers. He's more athletic than you give him credit for. And I thought, even though he's a 3-star, I thought you got to get some depth. And I thought that was another solid pickup for Coach Kelly. While
we're on recruiting, we'll talk about Caleb Jackson, the 4-star running back from Liberty, who will be committing tomorrow just before our show. I did some digging here. The A&M side does not appear to be all that confident. Things tend to be trending towards LSU. I think Florida State may be a player at some point, but this would be a really nice gift for LSU. We talked about when Trey Holly committed, there were 2 backs in the state. LSU needed to get 2 backs in this class at least, with the fact that John Emery is very likely gone, Noah Kane very likely gone. So you just got Armani Goodwin and Trey Bradford. You need to continue to add to that. They did that with Trey Holly, and I think Caleb Jackson would be a really nice add. We talked about the lineage of running backs from this state, and there are 2 here that appear to be takes. It seems like tomorrow's going to go the way of the home team.
Yeah, it's definitely pointing that way. And I think if you can get your 2 backs, especially 2 backs from the state, you got that solidified. You don't got to worry about that for the rest of this cycle. You can get those 2 guys locked up. And like you said, with Kane and Emery probably not being on the roster next season, that's going to be, very ideal for you to have 2 more backs coming into the class. And I like both of those guys. I think Holly's a little more talented, but I think there's definitely a world for Jackson to come in and contribute. He's sneaky speed. He's really good at making people miss at the second level. So if he can get, committed to the Tigers tomorrow, that'd be another big news for the crew.
For sure, and we'll react to that tomorrow wherever it is that he may go. The last piece of the recruiting puzzle here is the massive movement on Twitter over the last 24 hours to do hashtag Shelton Stays, which was started, with the LSU class. And look, I'm a person who cringes big time when fans tweet at recruits. I think it's slimy. I think it's desperate. I don't like it. I'll just be very, very honest. And it's even worse when kids commit somewhere and then people from the other schools tell you how terrible you are. It's just, it's the world of social media where I like it for jokes and information, and too often people use it to just be negative and mean, which doesn't accomplish anything. It just means you're pathetic when you do it. But that's my feelings on tweeting at recruits. This is more so kind of a groundswell movement from the signing class towards Shelton Sampson, as there's just momentum on the recruiting trail. That was the whole thing, the narrative with this whole deal. It was going slow. Numbers were down. When's this going to kick in? And now it has, and their numbers look a lot healthier. You're now looking at a signing class that doesn't look like it's bare bones. You're in the top 10 in the country. Yeah. How many commits do they have at this point? I don't see 14 commitments. That's about where it should be. And so with this recruiting momentum that they've built over the last 10 days, the thought is maybe we can get Shelton Sampson to jump in. It doesn't sound like that's imminent with his commitment at this point, but it's the power of social media and getting a class together, trying to establish that bond.
Yeah, and we talked about that last year, especially with our class. A lot of us being from the state of Louisiana, we all kind of had a hand in each other's pocket, kind of trying to influence each other to come play for the Tigers, and I think that's exactly what's going on here. They're trying to do everything they can. And like I said to start the segment, like if you can add Shelton to this class, it's going to put you just in another world when you look at that receiver room and some of the young quarterbacks you have on the roster. So I don't know if I love the fans, doing it like you said, because I don't think their decision or their tweets are going to have any effect on your decision either way. But I think when guys from this state, guys who are committed, guys on the team, and obviously the coaching staff are kind of pushing that, I think it's definitely something that can gain momentum and kind of push a guy to say, hey, you know what, this is something cool here. I want to be a part of this, and hopefully Shelton makes that decision.
So according to On3, which is where you can find Billy Embody and some of those guys that have been in this LSU market for a while, LSU's class ranked 9th in the country at this point. That would be 4th in the SEC, but 9th in the country, pretty good. I was interested in their average distance from LSU's campus, which On3 has. Their kind of deal is that they've just got an expansive database, and they mine a lot of numbers on On3. And the average distance from LSU's campus for this class 1,099 miles. That is not common for LSU. And if you want to jump and scream and say that Brian Kelly can't recruit Louisiana and you have to recruit Louisiana to win at LSU, well, I think you do have to recruit Louisiana to win at LSU. I also think this year is a little bit of an anomaly where 3 of the top 10 were not coming your way anyway, and they're just going to have to do some things a little bit differently in this cycle and focus on getting the guys they can and supplementing everything from outside, and that's obviously what they're doing to this point. So big week in the rearview mirror for LSU on the recruiting front.
Thanks so much for watching Hunt Hill on YouTube.
Now do us a favor. Hit the red subscribe button below and throw us a like. See you next time.